Good day and welcome to the Bearded AI Guide. Today we're talking about my 10th book, Learn Python Game Development, ChatGPT. I've just got my copy from Amazon, and if you want to order your copy, probably use Amazon as well or another retail. This book originally came about because a publisher asked me to write a book about teaching Python game development. I said, sure thing, but I want to do it with AI. So I proposed using ChatGPT. What I found through my journey using ChatGPT, originally starting with 3.5 and then progressing to 4, was that it gave me a lot of knowledge and insights into prompt engineering and the whole aspect of how LLMs can integrate and generate code automatically for you. It was a really interesting journey, and I hope you can take the journey with me going through the book or through my other developments. This book itself was a really good lead into the current book I'm writing, AI Agents in Action, and it's given me a lot of insights into agents as well. So the book really covers all the base. Starts with prompt engineering, what prompt engineering is, and how interactions with large language models work. To build prompts, to iterate and generate code. Typically, people, when they're using ChatGPT to generate code, it's just one or two or three iterations. In some parts of the book, we go through several, 10 or more iterations to get the code or get the game that we need. This book goes through a lot of those aspects of getting that prompt right and iterating. And how to iterate. Iteration is a bit of a technique itself. You have to know how many requirements or how many features you can ask in a large language model at a time. Obviously, that's expanded on as we've progressed and large language models have become smarter, if you will, but it still is always going to be a thing where we want to learn how to iterate best to generate code. The book starts from the basics of text adventures, introducing Python, writing text adventure games, everything that goes through building a basic game engine from the game loop to building game elements and so on. Then we progress into more advanced text adventure games, looking at the mush, the multi-user shared hallucination, if you will. Being able to add images and graphics to your text adventure game, aka Leisure Suit Larry, if you remember those games. Then we progress, we use generative AI to generate those images. And a common theme throughout the whole book is using generative AI to build game assets, which I feel is going to be a very popular aspect of future game development. From there, we move to the 2D platformer, and what better way to look at or understanding the 2D platformer than building a Flappy Bird clone, and that's exactly what we do. So not only do we build a Flappy Bird clone through the book, but we also build a map editor, a number of other little cool features, in just a single chapter. Then we progress to fighting games and looking at a complete 2D player fighting game that's written in Pygame, but it's 2D player, but doesn't incorporate any AI. We introduce AI behavior trees, work as the game opponent. From there, we go to physics-based games using PyMonk. We look at building a car game that can jump over obstacles, if you will, to building isometric world. One of the key aspects of building or iterating through prompting and building game code with LLMs is that there's a lot of more technical aspects that LLMs just don't get always right. Physics is a big one, isometric games is another one, and 3D games is yet another. There's so many complex interactions there between all the elements that getting or asking for a game to be written in one prompt is not likely or doable at all. So we have to do multiple prompts and multiple iterations. So then from building isometric worlds, we level up and we look at agent to help us automate and build some of those games. We look at a tool called AutoGen from Microsoft and develop a game development workshop. From there, we build a 3D first-person shooter from the basics of just prompting to looking at a more completed version and understanding everything from materials, shaders, camera movement, textures, and mesh. And then we move on to more future games, games that I think will be a very strong component of what we see gaming become in the future. And that is the vocal game. We all know now that her demo that OpenAI put on, I think there's going to be a lot more games coming out that are focusing on and showcasing the vocal talents of AI. And then in the last chapter, we look at what the future beckons for AI in gaming. And I think there's going to be a lot more interactions or integrations with AI in gaming. More intelligent NPCs to games being driven by AI entirely. So very dynamic games. What you'll learn through this book is mastering prompt engineering and iteration I spoke of. Being able to iterate and build games. Understanding a lot of the foundational game elements from text adventures, understanding game loops to physics, rigid body dynamics to isometric games, building and shaping tiles, building the assets for those games, to fighting games, 2D platformers, 3D games, understanding how you can develop games more thoroughly with agents, gaming agents. From there, what's covered throughout the book a lot is use of generative AI to develop game assets. Look at everything from generating images for background to structuring images so they can generate animation panels, to using generative AI for a lot of different and novel things. And then, as I mentioned before, learn and understand how do you control games with AI, from behavior trees in the early chapters in that Street Fighter example to more complex things, like actually using the GPT store if you build games that are powered by AI. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. And please be sure and check out Learn Python Game Development with ChatGPT. Also, please like, subscribe, and again, thank you very much.